So yeah, basically, Plobbies is MCC's version of you managing to host an MCC, which is awesome.
Maybe it could be a hint to a lore, aliens taking over MCC Island. What if Noxcrew were all just aliens? Is MCC Island putting everything behind the paywall? You know, they don't have a lot of player counts, really. They don't have a lot of player counts to warrant the changes that I'd like them to add, which...
It's just the video game industry now is like, yeah, next thing has to be done. To be done. And it's sort of like, it's the Fortnite thing, right? It's the Fortnite Battle Pass experience.
I reckon this is being added to MCC Island so they can tweak it, change it perfectly for the community. How the community likes it. This is bad, okay, update this. This is bad, update it. This is good, keep this. Perfectly change it and optimize it for the main MCC, to add it to the main MCC. I don't like the fact that players can play the MCC parkour courses on MCC Island and on MCC. In the last 5 MCCs, there has only been, out of the 200 possible players, a rotation of about 67 players or something along those lines. 67, 72, I can't remember what the updated stat is. The only issue being is, if you buy the $30 plushie, you're not guaranteed the plushie you want.
I don't think it's anything on the Noxcrew. I think it is just a decision by the people at YouTube's.
Yesterday on Twitter, I made a tweet asking you, the viewer, if you could add one game to MCC Island, what would it be?
Alright lads, welcome to the 3rd episode of MidweekMC, the podcast where we waffle about what's happened this week in the world of Minecraft, general block related topics, and much, much more. I'm AJX, and I'm of course joined by the one, the only, the creator, Insane Orbitzz. Hello mate, how have you been?
Hello, I am good, thank you. It feels so strange hearing you do the intro. I'm so used to doing it. I think the entirety of the podcast up until today, or this podcast, I've always done the intro. So it feels so weird listening to someone else do it. But I mean, you know, this podcast is more your field of expertise, and it's always nice to have a little switch up. So amazing intro, by the way. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you. Well, we have a very exciting week, don't we? Because, well, we have very exciting news starting off with. Do you want to drop that down for us all?
Yes. So the InsideMC Podcast now has an InsideMC Discord. If you're listening on Spotify, head over to the YouTube one quickly. It'll be in the link in the description, and then you can head back over to Spotify. And if you're listening on YouTube, literally just scroll down, go to the description. You can find the Discord link there. It was made last Monday from when this podcast is coming out, and it's just a small little Discord for a small little community of podcast listeners to kind of come out, hang out, and you know, you can get different roles for different announcements, all that kind of jazz. And then myself and AJX are also there, so you can come and talk to us directly. Preferably not ping us, but I check it quite often. I'm not sure about AJX, so if you're talking in general, we might get involved in some of your conversations.
Hell yeah, perfect. Well, this week we have an episode basically about MCCI, but all things MCC in general, not the actual MCC, you know,
reference.
Not the YouTube. They curse me with that every time I say it. I'm like, oh my god, the YouTube. We have a topic about MCCI as a whole, and then a bit about the other stuff that they've been doing, the Noxcrew, and so. The first thing we sort of wanted to talk about was, of course, the huge new update, which it's like the amount of stuff they added was awesome. But there's the big thing, right? The big thing is Plobbies. That's what I've definitely been sitting down on, and I hosted a Plobbie. I've only managed to host one yet, but it's amazing. I really like it. I think it's exciting. It's exciting what they've managed to do in. Well, this feels like the first big update. I can't lie. Like they had the beta switch, but this feels like they had a few new things, like the new game, and then we had the time trial mode sort of for Parkour Warrior, and then you had the elimination mode come out a few weeks later. But this feels like it's the first big update, which it is, so it makes sense after all.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about with it. Obviously, with these kind of podcasts, we have like little notes right down. So, and I believe you have the notes up, hopefully, AJX.
Yes, I do.
And just looking at this, there is so many different topics to cover with this update, and that's why this update is more. This podcast is more about MCC Island, because we were going to touch on MCC, but the only really big thing from this MCC was the pack joining and then Sapnap breaking the win record. But there wasn't really much to talk about in general. Plus, I also I don't want this podcast to be a tournament podcast. podcast. You know, Midweek MC is an opportunity for me and AJX to just waffle about anything we'd like. And there's a tournament every single week for the next like 4 weeks. And there's always going to be a tournament every single week with the amount of tournaments there are. So I don't want the Midweek MC to become just waffling about the tournament that just happened. So that's why we're talking about the MCCI update instead. And we will touch on other things MCC. See, that's better than saying all things MCC, other things MCC.
You've beat me. You beat me there.
Do you want to take the lead with the Plobbies then? Because obviously I've done a bit of research on Plobbies, and I'll leave my research as we go on talking about it. However, you know, you more have the expertise of, well, you played the Plobbies and you posted a Plobby. I haven't bought MCC Plus. I don't think I will. I said that now. I probably will end up buying it at one point, but just, you know, I'm not really doing too well on Twitch lately, so I don't really see the point of buying MCC Plus because only 2 people join the Plobby, and you need 4 people to start it.
So yeah, basically, Plobbies is MCC's version of you managing to host an MCC, which is awesome. Like, you can host basically any games you want with a big group of people. So I've seen like Sandwich do it, I've done it, a few other people have done these huge lobby. Basically, you're making a lobby for yourself, or the people that are watching, or your friends, or so on. I've seen a few tournaments are definitely going to use it, basically as a like mini MCC tournament, which is the coolest part, right? The coolest part.
Jackass Game Nights.
Maybe, you know.
Oh no, it's been announced. It's been announced publicly.
Oh yeah, it has. Yeah, it's the Sky Battle. We're playing Sky Battle on Jackass.
Oh, I won't be. I've joined the Jackass Game Nights team, so I'll be counting
points and stuff. Okay. I think I'm away, unfortunately, on that day.
Is it next
I need
Friday?
to remember. Yes. Oh, maybe I'm not then. Either way, it's extremely.
It's one Friday.
Plobbies. Oh, fair enough. Plobbies has a huge amount of things they've added, basically, in terms of the whole season has a new like theme. It's galaxy theme, so all the items are now related to galaxy, basically space and so on, which is cool because they've done a few things to do with space. I think overall they're quite obsessed with space, because obviously we had the aliens last season with the whole summer thing, and now we have a space theme. But I love space myself, so. Pardon?
Maybe it could be a hint to lore, aliens taking over MCC Island. What if Not Screw are all just aliens?
True, they do have lore kind of on MCC Island, so I'm down with that. But basically, let's go down in Plobbies. Plobbies, you basically start a group. You invite someone to your own lobby, or you can invite a group. You have a code that you can put to invite people, and you can make a 50-person player lobby and basically just play a bunch of the game modes, which is amazing. Only max amount of players for game modes, unfortunately, but it's still a very cool thing that they've added. The issue is, though, that it is behind the MCC Plus paywall, obviously. Now, MCC Plus basically is about, I think it's about $8, and then it's like £6.99 in UK currency, but I'm not exactly sure on those numbers. But it's basically.
Double check here quickly. I should have wrote this down. My bad. For some reason I didn't write it down.
No worries.
It's different prices for different tiers. So if I go into the store here, if it loads, there we go, and I go into MCC Plus, it is, so for 30 days auto renew it's $7.69. 30 days just on its own is $7.99. 90 days is $19.99, and 360 days is $76.79. So for a year in British currency, it would be about £62. So
okay,
which isn't too bad. Actually, come to think of it, it's not too bad.
Yeah, especially because we'll get on to a new game later, but I think they'll probably be adding another new game within this year, so you're getting a lot out of it, and obviously the new maps and so on. But anyway, basically it's very simple. You can create your own MCC. That's the main thing I think about Plobbies. That's literally all I think about when I think about Plobbies is, oh my god, you can just, with your friends or with your viewers, create your own event, basically. Go from event to event. As long as someone's touting up the points, it's perfect. Honestly, I'm extremely excited about Plobbies. But you've got the whole paywall after all.
It's nice as well though, because these like tournaments start hosting a public tournaments. They've been doing it for a while, the public MCC Island tournaments, and they get angry when like somebody in the game is messing about or somebody in the game kills them. Like, at least now they can turn into a tournament. The only issue is though, and it's something that I've seen is that like with to get to the other side, it's only capped to like single player. You can't have teams of 4 to get to the other side. You can't have teams of 4 holding the wall. You know, only, and even Battle Box, you can only do 16 players, which I think that's warranted. But you know, not every single one has the 32 player cap that Sky Battle has.
Yeah, that's definitely annoying.
Which
I
is
think
the
because you
downside.
literally can only have the like amount. You can probably split it like different tournaments. But if you're doing a tournament, it has to be a 16-player tournament, and that's it. You can the thing you can do is you can make separate teams, which is cool. So if people in your Plobby party up, then they can become a team. Obviously, it doesn't like count their points properly for something like to get to the other side. But that's pretty good for like Sky Battle and Battle Box, especially that you can make sure to register the points there.
Yeah, because that was one thing that I wanted to mention as well. So obviously you know that I used to be a Bedrock content creator, right?
Yes, of course, yeah.
So there was a server called The Hive. Everyone's heard of The Hive. I played on Bedrock Edition, and they have custom servers, right? And with the custom servers, they have a wide range of settings, which I won't get into because that's a topic later on, as you're fully aware of, at least. The viewer will find out what I mean soon. But like with like the team and stuff like that, they have settings where you can set people's colors. You can set people to red. You can set people to blue. You can set people to green. Whereas MCC Island, to be guaranteed on the same team, you have to join the private game as a party, which is like, it's all right, but not many people know that. Like I made a tweet about it. I think people did slowly find out about it, and there's also a way to disable that, which is good if you're a Plobby owner and you don't want people to like abuse it. You can turn off auto teams for parties. However, it would be nice if there was a setting for like Chatcast game nights, for example, how there's blue, there's red, there's yellow. If you could set people to be on yellow team if they're on yellow team, kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be a lot better. But it's just simpler, right? That's a big thing. Just simplicity should be key when it comes to MCC, I think. Well, MCC Island at least, you know. But
yeah, and,
there's a lot of cool.
Oh, sorry, go on, please.
Oh no, you go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to move on. Is the issue? So.
Oh, okay. Before you move on, then sorry.
Well, not move on, but yeah.
It's also just like other stuff as well. Like Plobbies is really, really cool. And like I fully respect the idea, and I think it's a really, really cool idea. But like, you know, when Savage Lord is going live 2 days in a row and crashing the server twice because he's loaded up a Plobby, it's a bit like, you know, you just use, you know, not to obviously shame MCC Island or not screw, because I've never owned a server. Actually, to be fair, I owned a realm back on Bedrock Edition, made a good bit of money from it, to be fair. But I've never owned a full scale server. I've never held tower of a full scale server. So like, but you just wonder, like, did they test 50 player Plobbies? Or maybe they didn't expect it to happen, but they must have, because there's so many contestants, there's so many creators. Like they surely knew it was going to happen at one point. But like, obviously with Plobbies, it's such a cool idea. It's just it's not fully finished yet. There's so many stuff is missing. For example, even just the basics of the colors. You can have 50 players in a Plobby, but the max you can have playing a game is 32. So the other 18 spaces for spectators is quite a lot of spaces for spectators, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, huge amount, to be honest. I guess for example, Sandwich Lord, then you have a constant rotation of people. As long as you make it sure it's random, someone jumping from one game to the next isn't always going to play. They're not always going to get picked. So the spectator will get picked for like the second, for the first game of Sky Battle, there'll be a spectator, and then the second there'll be a player, which is better. Well, I think that's how it works, at least.
Oh, okay.
If it doesn't, then that is an issue. That's a huge issue.
Yeah, I guess it's been something that's like, so obviously I tested, like I was on a call with Todd Taylor and a few others, and we were testing like the MCC Plus because they have it. So while you were live, actually, I was asking them to help me test stuff, and like that's where I got my basis on, but obviously you can't really test with 30 players. If I could have asked Sandwich Lord, but he's streaming, he's having fun, you know. I didn't really want to bother his stream to find out if like 30 players actually rotate. Plus it's also just something a bit hard to keep track of, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's an issue.
I think
it's you're like, whoa, which ones I mean, it's a science experiment, right? That's basically what needs to happen.
Yeah, it just needs to constantly update and change. But I feel like it, like I said, it's a really cool idea. It's custom servers. That's why I call it. That's why it's called on the Hive. It's called custom servers. It's private games. It's custom servers. It's Plobbies. But it's just like, I feel like it released missing a lot of things, in my opinion, anyways. And that's not a bad thing, because they can just add it slowly. And maybe they looked at the player count and didn't want to release it with so much, which is once again a very fair assumption to make, or like a fair thing to do. Sorry, but I just feel like it's missing a bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I get you. Well, they're talking about stuff that's obviously been released. MCC Plus, that's not the only thing that's on MCC Plus. You also have a bunch of other stuff added via MCC Plus, which is fairly cool. Well, I was getting to that. So one thing was evolving player icons. So I think that's a pretty cool add, but it's sort of a cosmetic thing rather than anything.
Yeah.
The main controversial one, if I'm honest, is the Parkour Warrior Daily. So
is it?
Everyone used to have access to this.
No,
everyone used to have access to Parkour Warrior. No. Well, it's the daily time trials.
Yeah, no, only people with ranks have access to that. I've never had access.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've never had access to Parkour Warrior Daily.
Wow.
Only if you put money on the server, you get access to it.
Wait, no, because Debbie's been playing has played the dailies.
I've never been able to play the dailies. Every single time I tried, it told me to buy a rank.
Weird.
I could be completely wrong in saying that, or maybe you're wrong. One of us are wrong here. But as far as I'm aware, I've tried to play the Parkour Warrior dailies before, and it says to me no because I don't have a rank. Well, actually, I can fact check this. Give me 1 second. Let me look at the.
Are you going on the server?
No, I can look at the ranks. I can look at the ranks here.
Well, they might have been changed now, but before, I swear.
Because
the other thing, they have made it so that you can play it, but once a week. So once a week, anyone with any rank can go on and play the dailies and so on. But you can only do it that one day.
But even if you have even if you put money for an actual rank, that can only happen once a day now.
No, you're right. Never mind. I've confused myself.
Wait, so what's the final answer then? I'm confused.
The final answer is dailies were ranked, I think.
Yeah, but non-ranks they can play it once a week, is what you're saying.
I'm not sure if it's non-ranks or ranks. But so if you don't have MCC Plus, someone can play it once a week. But I don't know the full answer of that extent.
Okay, yeah, because as far as I'm aware, ranks could always do it every single day. Because I always watched people with ranks do it, but I never could. I guess what was this on the website? It says, Parkour Warrior Daily with MCC Plus. Unlimited access to the Parkour Warrior Daily Challenge, a new unique generation every day. So maybe they've just limited it to MCC Plus now. I don't know.
I definitely saw something about people are able to still do it, but only once per day or once per week. Sorry. I'm guessing that's the other ranks are allowed to do it once per week.
Okay, we'll just say that for now then, because once again, I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you should have fact checked this," but something like this is a bit hard to fact check because obviously we can't. I mean, do you have a rank, AJX?
I did. Well, yeah. I have MCC Plus. Yeah. So and I had the rank before, so
exactly. So it's not something we can really look into asking around.
To be fair, you were right, and I was wrong, but that's because I've had a rank this whole time. You have.
But could you always play it every single day?
Yeah, but I had a rank back then.
I reckon it stays. I reckon that's still the same then. Maybe they just updated it so only non-ranks can play it once a week. That's what I reckon the final answer is there.
Maybe that is the case.
Anyways, before we dig ourselves a more incorrect hole, what's the other things you can have?
So the other things are, of course, you can get favorite games now, which is very cool. Plobbies is, of course, the main thing. You have a quest meter, a material quest meter, which is pretty a nice little cosmetic thing again. Gameplay XP boost, which again is just sort of added, and then chat emojis, which is again cosmetics.
Yeah, exactly. And see, that's the thing. It's a question I said on stream, and it's a question I wanted to bring up today. And I'm not saying I agree with the question or saying the question is right. And you'll see what I mean in a second. It's the question is MCC Island putting everything behind the paywall? And the thing is, it's yes, but only in a cosmetic sense. Obviously, with MCC Plus, you can get, gems daily, but you can buy gems anyway. Evolving player icon is a cosmetic. Favorite games is just, I guess, to make life a bit easier, but then you can also get that with the rank. Plobbies, yeah, it's behind the paywall, which kind of sucks on the Hive Bedrock edition. Hive, I don't actually know how it works. YouTube ranks get unlimited amounts of private games, and then I think Hive Plus gets about 5 a day, and then if you don't have Hive Plus, you get 2 a day or something along those lines. But with MCC Island, you can only play Plobbies if you put money into the server. Chat emojis, cosmetic, material request meter. Yeah, I mean, it makes it life easier, but it's once again still cosmetic. And gameplay XP boost, once again, still cosmetic. The only one that causes a bit of controversy, and even with the actual ranks themselves causes a controversy, is the Parkour Warrior Daily putting games behind a paywall. Which, I mean, not the entire game, because you can still play Parkour Warrior. I know CubeCraft on Bedrock Edition, if you have Egg Wars rank, you can play Chaos mode. You can't play it without, like, thing. And I've always kind of said I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of putting any games behind a paywall. But, you know, they gotta break even. They gotta make their money somehow. And sadly,
well, you gotta make it worth it, right, for the person that's paying. I think that's the main thing. That's the main crux of it. Unfortunately, some people are paying for these new stuff, and myself included, because I want to have it. And I want to support the Nox crew is a big thing for me as well, because given their effect on my life. So I think the whole situation, it's difficult, right? Because you want to. I don't want stuff to be behind the paywall. You know, Parkour Warrior Daily was free, allowed for other people, not free, but other people could play it, and now they can't, which is a shame.
Well, non-ranks have never
probably
been
shouldn't have happened.
Non-ranks
have never. Yeah. But like, if you bought a rank, right, and you bought rank to play it, and now you can't unless you pay this.
Assuming we're correct in what we're saying here, because it could be completely wrong.
Yeah, which you know,
I get it. Paywall, no matter what, it's still behind.
Again, yeah. But you know, in this business, you gotta unfortunately make that money.
Yeah, I mean, overall, what are your thoughts on the update? Once again, this is probably not going to be a longer podcast, which is good. Midweek MC isn't meant to be too long. We just like to waffle quite a bit. So Midweek MC can be very short, very thing. And like, we're talking about the update, but it's more just shedding light on it. We're not exactly saying too much about it, if that makes sense. So we're talking about it, but we're not going into crazy depth of it, because I mean, we don't really need to. But like, what are your overall thoughts? Because we didn't really touch on the actual season itself, like the galaxy part. We didn't talk about how like it's space themed. There's a new battle pass. The lobbies moved around a little bit, which is a bit inconvenient.
Everyone's got like this set memory that's suddenly been changed a tiny bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it, because it literally caters everything towards me, because I love the space theme. I love the idea of Plobbies, and when they announced it, I didn't expect that to be a thing they added, so I was super excited when they announced it. And it's just awesome. I really am a huge fan of this season and what they've been doing over the past few weeks and months with the actual, you know, with it all being live at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of the servers missing, but once again, it comes under the fact that, you know, they don't have a lot of player counts. Really, they don't have a lot of player counts to warrant the changes that I'd like them to add, which we're going to talk about, because we're going to talk about what we'd like to add to MCC Island ourselves, and I have quite a bit. I'm not sure about yourself. But you know, like it's just a case of, does it warrant it? Does the player counts, as the amount they're earning, warrant adding these kind of updates? And that's something we won't know and we can't see.
Yeah.
But overall thoughts other than Plobbies, overall thoughts on the update itself, MCC Plus, the new lobby, overall thoughts on that kind of thing.
Love it. That's mainly the main thing. I'm hugely loving everything they're doing with MCC Island.
Step in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. I think the more they do, the more I actually am like, yeah, this is great.
It's a good server. It is a really good server.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what they've got coming up in the future as well. You know, season 1 was not that long. It was only like 3 months. I expect this season will be the same. So
which was quite
talking
short,
around
Christmas.
Actually.
Come to think of it, was actually really short. It doesn't really give you that much time to finish the cosmetics unless you're like, because I didn't play it loads. I didn't play the server loads, and I didn't put money into it either. So it was quite hard for me to finish the in quotation marks battle pass.
I can't lie, I think you're in a minority. I think it's kind of normal in the video game industry for a season to be 3 months long, unfortunately, nowadays.
Well, I mean, I wasn't saying it was a bad thing, by the way. I literally pointed out that it felt quite short, 3 months.
Well, I was going to say, I know a few people that finished it within the first, few weeks. The fact is, they've actually now made it harder to finish it quicker. Because people finished... Yeah, because so many people finished it so quickly, they've actually had to go out and make changes to... I don't think the season will be longer. I think they've just had to make it harder for people to complete challenges, because people will do them quickly. Some people just will spend all their time on MCC Island.
Yeah, but obviously... not shaming anyone here, because if you enjoy the game, you enjoy the game, so don't take this the wrong way. It's like, tomorrow, for example, I'm working from 9 till 4, then I'm going to come home and I'm going to edit the podcast. And yeah, I guess I put the podcast on myself, and I mean, I have to go to work. You can't say, oh, you choose to go to work. I have to go to work. I got to earn money. But like the podcast I know is on myself. But like, even after that, after a long day of work, I don't always want to come home and try hard MCC Island to try and get my levels up. It's like, I remember it being a meme. You play FIFA. I don't know if you used to play Ultimate Team much.
No, sadly not. But
there was always this meme, and you might have heard of it. I'm hoping one of the viewers have heard of it, because it's so funny. It's like, so for instance, when I used to play Ultimate Team, I used to play with one of my good mates. So I won't say his name, but he was a good mate of mine at the time. And like, we'd be playing Ultimate Team on our own. We'd be in a voice call, and I'd smack this guy like 5-0 at like 6 p.m. at night. And then like I it wasn't my joke, but this is what I'd say based on a meme that I saw. And it's like this guy just worked his 9 to 5, had a really long day at work trying to feed for his 3 kids and his wife, and then he's logged on to FIFA to have a nice fun game, and I've smacked him 5-0.
yeah.
And it's a bit like that with MCC Island. It's like, you go to work, you come home, you just want to casual games for MCC Island, and you're just absolutely getting shat on by everyone.
I think for me, it's just a video game. Yeah, no, definitely. I think for me, it's just the video game industry now is like, yeah, next thing has to be done. And it's sort of like it's the Fortnite thing, right? It's the Fortnite Battle Pass experience is basically the thing. Fortnite started it so that you'd have this Battle Pass, and every season they'd add new things, and therefore people wanted the next season because they'd complete the Battle Pass in a few days and weeks. And some people wouldn't complete it that quickly, but some people would, unfortunately for them. So it sort of just became, okay, we need to start working on the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah, exactly, and it's always just a constant update, constant go.
People want new stuff, basically. That's the gist of it. People are you got the TikTok generation who don't have the attention spans, is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, yeah. So anyone who listens to this podcast, full respect, because you actually have an attention span.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, though, I feel like I had a lot more to say about it, like before the podcast. Like, nothing that came to mind. I just felt like I'd have more to say about like the whole update and stuff like that. But then when we've come to it, we're more just covering what the update is, really, innit? Like, there's not too much to say about it. Plus, I am in the mood to do the podcast today, and I'm really enjoying doing this podcast right now. But this has just been a very like muddled up waffle. That's why I'm glad I don't do highlights of MidweekMC, otherwise it'd be all over the bloody place. Plus, I will admit I'm having a drink as well, which drink doesn't affect me, but I am having a drink as well. Drink responsibly, and don't drink if you're underage, because I know this is a Minecraft podcast, but I never claimed it was PG. So no, it is PG. Would it be? No, it's not PG.
It's confusing me now.
I'm 20 years of age. Can I say you said your age publicly, haven't you?
Yeah. I'm 24.
I think you said it on the last podcast, actually, like when we did the introduction one.
It's on my Twitter,
Yeah. I'm 20 years of age. AJX is 24 years of age. Obviously it's a kid-friendly podcast, but like I'm having an alcoholic beverage. I'm gonna swear. It's my podcast. At the end of the day, I get to do one. That's a joke. But yeah. So with the update though, we've covered MCC Plus, we've covered Plobbies, we've covered the space theme and stuff like that. We're kind of just more pointing out what the update is and giving our little thoughts on it. There are also new maps, which you said you do feel strongly about.
Oh yeah, so I like the maps, right? They're really cool. You got Villa, which has been in MCC before. I think it's been in 2 MCCs.
Well, it was in MCC Rising too.
Yeah, it was in MCC Rising 2, and I believe Prison's been in 1 MCC. I talk about MCC all the time. They sort of merges all into my head. Mm-hmm. So they're 2 brand new maps, obviously, which very exciting. And I'm a big BattleBox player, to be honest. I just tend to play BattleBox, if I'm honest. So it's cool to get different designs and different ways to play, basically. The other thing they added was to get to the other side has 2 new maps in Canyon and Funhouse. And finally, Sky Battle has another map, which is the Greenhouse map, which is incredible. The amount of work they put into that map is insane, if I'm honest. But the main... let's start. Of course, let's go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I feel like you was going to talk about one specific. When you said the main, you was going to say one specific map, weren't you? So you're going to have to tell me what that one was afterwards.
No, I wasn't. No. Go.
What were you going to say then? The main what?
I was going to say my big thing about them.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we'll go in order. So first one, BattleBox Villa, MCC Rising 2. That's
Yes.
It's an alright map. It's good, but it feels like the fights only go down on the sides. There's not really ever a fight in the middle.
It's kind of iconic to me because of Wade and that final battle
Oh my god,
between them and Pink. So it just feels like, but yeah, it does tend to just end up being on the sides, which is weird because in MCC Rising 2, I watched obviously if you can't guess, I watched Lime Llamas.
Which I watched the Lime Llamas and Aquax that are also on my two teams.
Yes, yeah. So like I only have like them to go off, and they were straight in the middle quite often, trying to make it, you know, seem like they were gonna fill constantly, which they didn't, which was genius. But I guess because they have the you can't fill straight away mechanic in this, you know, in MCC Island, it means that everyone sort of has to go off to the side and fight there. I think Prison's very similar as well, where it tends to end up being into the side. Yeah, unfortunately so. So they both feel the same is my thing. I think they feel very similar to me, both of them.
They look the same as well. Well, I thought Prisons was pipes. I thought Prisons was just a pipe. When I first saw it, I was wait, this is just pipes.
Yeah, they've got different things. Like, for example, on one of the maps, it has the block so that you can't get shot straight away, which is an issue on all the maps. You literally just, as soon as it says go, you basically get shot straight away. Which, and look, I'm the person that's shooting.
Yep.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, I think they're decent additions. I always want new maps, and they're different compared to a bunch of the others because I think there's less going into the middle. It's more forcing to the side, but in, you know, Battle Box is Battle Box. They do have different stuff. For example, the lava basically trap that you can hit people into is amazing.
That's very cool.
But overall, you know, it's those are the two weakest adds on, I think, on the map front.
They're just new Tug Toss maps, aren't they? Really? They're not Tug Toss maps, Battle Box maps, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my
They're new Battle Box maps. They feel very similar to the other Battle Box. The thing I think they should do is maybe spruce up the kits a bit more.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. The kits on Villa are horrible. There's only one with a stone sword, and the rest of them just feel so weak. It feels like the kits in general are like, compared to MCC, the kits just don't feel that good. Like, from what I see in MCC at least, like the kits just feel a bit meh, really. But and that's not even just for the new maps. I'm just not really a big fan of the kits in general. I feel like some of them feel really unbalanced compared to others. Like, and I get I get it's a case of like, oh yeah, both teams have it though, but it's like one of them where like only 2 people can have a crossbow, and then they also get a sword with it. Like Trains, for example, there's 2 people with a crossbow and 2 other people are forced with a bow. You know, everyone kind of wants a crossbow, and yeah, I get the other team also has 2 crossbow users, but then like the 2 people who are good with a crossbow might not get the crossbow because the randoms have taken the crossbow, and it's like, like, you know, there's the balance and it's a little bit out the window. You know, I feel like maybe 1 crossbow, not 2, kind of thing. It is, you know, but being very picky with it.
A triple shot crossbow destroys as well.
That's
that is such a
for me, not multi-shot. So yeah, that's what multi-shot is. So mine is more quick
multi-shot. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Well, we both think different ones are OP. They are both crossbows, so.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so they're just new Battle Box, which is fair enough. I think they don't add too much, but I'd love to have a different group of rotations, basically, is the main thing. The other maps, however, I think are huge changes. So to get to the other side, you have Canyon, which is incredibly cool because basically it's you're going through this like cave section, and the main gimmick of this map is the mobs. Basically, you have tons and tons of mobs that come down and are trying to hit you off, which is a bit like the skeletons in a few of the other to get to the other side maps. But these ones are like, you've got creepers, you've got zombies, you've got blazes, you've got the skeletons, you have loads of stuff. And honestly, it's quite difficult. It's quite a difficult map overall. I've seen plenty of people not be able to finish it at this point.
I think I've already played it once and it was on a Plobby, but like the map just gives me more annoying vibes. Really, you know, that's not to say it isn't good. It just gives me more the vibes of just it's just like, you know, because I remember I won't say who it was just in case, but they were playing and they were building and they were first. They were about to get a triple first, and then got like shot off by a skeleton. And like I get like in the other maps it has skeletons, but like the one where you climb up the hill, the skeletons can only shoot you backwards, and to be honest, they don't ever really shoot you off. The skeleton full on like just shot them into the lava right as it was the very end. It's like, yeah, the players are already annoying, you know, the players already get on my nerves. The mobs are just tedious.
I think it's probably a little more luck based than a lot of the other ones. I think definitely. It's probably. It's like a cool thing to add. I think the only thing they need to do is like turn down the amount of mobs would be my big thing, because currently it is probably the most difficult, and therefore I'm not going to say worst, because I'm sure everyone has their opinions, but like it's definitely the most difficult map, and that's a big thing for me. I don't want to be doing the most difficult map all the time.
Yeah, I think it's still it's still a really good like map though.
A play of my skill level though, you know, I need I need the ability to learn to do the map, and with so much like RNG, it feels like I can never maybe complete it.
Have you never completed the map before?
I have. I've finished it every single time I played it so far.
You just mean like first? You mean first?
Yeah, well, I'm never going to get first on that. Where I feel like a lot of the maps I can still get first on.
Well, maybe one day, who knows?
Maybe. Yeah, you're right.
And then there's a second one, which I actually quite like. I haven't played it, but from watching it, it actually looks really fun.
It is. So that is, of course, Funhouse. Funhouse is basically, you go through different sections of it's basically a children's play area. That's what I equivalent it to. It's like back when you were in school or so on, you go to a children's play place, and that is exactly what Funhouse is. There's so much stuff that is reminds me of that, including like you run through stuff in children's play place where you have to like hit them to the sides to get through. So much of it is just like a children's play place, and I think that's the genius of that map. And the actual theme is amazing. I think it's perfect, the theme wise. The one thing is, it is quite long. It's quite a long map. It takes over a minute, well, not over a minute, but quite a long time to complete, even for the fastest runner, because there's so many sections of it. So definitely one of the longest maps there is on to get to the other side. I'm trying to think. It is very similar to the one that Purple's so good at. That's suddenly left my head. The one where you have to place blocks. Well, true. The one where you have to place blocks.
The Orange Desert.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll just call it that. Orange Desert. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
So it reminds me a lot of that map overall, I think. But
I mean,
again,
this one you don't place blocks on, no?
No, you don't at all. But in terms of length, in terms of how long it is as a map, it definitely reminds me of that. And they have a few longer maps, and I don't think it's a bad thing. And it is one that I can learn. I think that's a good thing. I can definitely learn and get first place in this one if I, learn how to do each segment optimally.
Exactly. I mean, I just like it as well because it's so enclosed, people hitting you can't really affect you too much. It's nice. I feel like a lot on the maps, like getting hit once can really, even the one that Purple is good at, I feel like getting hit on it can really screw you over. Whereas this one, I feel like it's a lot harder to get screwed over because it's so enclosed, it's indoors kind of thing,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I haven't played it yet. Right, I could play it and absolutely hate it. I just mean from watching it, it looks quite fun. But then every time I watch it, it's always someone who's good at the game. So
always the way.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that's a good map. And then finally, we have Sky Battle, which has the greenhouse map, which is gargantuan, and the amount of effort they've put into this greenhouse map is incredible. It honestly feels like a top tier map for anything, right? It's a huge greenhouse basically with this massive tree in the middle that you could basically get into through different segments, and then it has all the branches around it and so on, and just the theming and everything to do with this map is incredible. Again, the one bad thing about it is it's just so big, and the tree is so massive, and there's so many sections you can get into of the tree that I saw basically in a Plobby where it was 2 players left and they could not find each other for ages up until the end. So I guess that's the one thing about the map. But when you're getting into competitive play, I don't think that'll be a problem. And I think it is the best map just in MCC Island in general.
You know what I see, and it might be a hot take, it might be a cold take, who knows, is it turns from survival games into Sky Battle. So like the entire outside is all linked. You can get to middle without, well, you have to build up. Like, you know, you can get to middle without bridging. You can do all of this, and as soon as you get to center, it's just void. It's just all void. It's just all skybound. It's like the inconsistency throws me off a little bit. Where like, you know, because like a lot of the times people are like fighting on the outside. No one's even really making it into the middle anymore. You know?
Yeah, I get you. You saying that kind of excites me because is the closest we've got to survival games on MCC Island.
Yeah,
and I don't think we'll ever get survival. Well, we might get survival games on MCC Island. It's not something I don't think many people particularly are rushing to have or clamoring to have because it's like survival games are on a lot of servers. I'm sure it's 1.9 plus PvP, but I think that it reminds me a lot of Sky Battle of survival games. You're right at the start. I don't mind it, you know. Maybe you do, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to have something that's Sky Battle-esque. I think the middle still reminds me of Sky Battle survival games. If I could get my words properly, that would definitely help. So I think the middle's kind of survival games esque as well.
I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, it's each their own, really. I just want a good map. I just want to get like you said, it just feels a bit big, really.
Yeah, it's definitely. I can imagine maybe in a full-on game. Again, I've only played it in Plobbies is the issue. Maybe it's a bit easier and you have a bit more awareness of where everyone is, but in the Plobby I was in, and it was a decently sized Plobby, you know, you had about 12 people. People were, the last two had to spend quite a lot of time finding each other, which I can imagine is a struggle if it happens in every game, but I'm sure it won't.
Well, no, I've played a few games and it doesn't really take that long. Most people just like, in a main game, most people just go to middle. The only issue I have is, and this is one I share with a streamer, which once again, I won't say their name just in case, but the height border is too slow. The top height border comes down just too slow.
Yeah. I think that's a big issue for the space. Again, it's an easy fix, right? They just need to make the borders come in quicker, and I think everything's fixed. So it's similar to Canyon in that way, where if you just make less mobs, then it's fine. It's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Canyon does feel like it has too much mobs. I know. Yeah. So you mentioned it, I kind of just zoned out, but yeah, I agree. Well, not zoned out per se. I kind of just brushed over it, which I was meant to respond with. Yes, it does feel like it has too many mobs sometimes.
No problem, bro.
I guess with that being said, then of the current update, there is also another update coming, and they've mentioned it's coming next week. So who knows? It might be out before this, and it's a brand new game. The only issue I have, and I want to get this out of the way now, with the idea of a brand new game, is MCC Island lately has been very, very laggy. Every single time they release a brand new update, and I'm not sure if this applies to everyone, but it applies to me. Every single time there's a brand new update, the server just becomes outrageously laggy. Alright? And like, even with Plobbies, like as soon as like, you know, Sandwich Lord was making Plobbies, he said this publicly, so I don't mind saying his name. Like, you know, he did it 2 days in a row, and both days he crashed a Plobby. He crashed the entire server, and then like as soon as the update came out, it was just unplayable. I played it for like an hour, and I was like, yeah, I'm not enjoying this because I physically can't play it. So I'm a bit scared. I am a bit scared for the brand new game. And however, it is cool. It's called Dynable. My good friend here, Captain AJX, does know a bit more about it than I do. However, from the rundown I have, it is essentially dodgeball, but you know, not in a close proximity. And it's also like battleships. You're like throwing TNT at each other, kind of thing. I don't know. We first saw this introduced, Captain AJX.
We first saw it introduced basically on a YouTube thing that was like it was some sort of dedication to gaming called Game On. So it was a huge YouTube event, and the Minecraft section was like Dream, Tommy in it, Sapnap, a few others. Basically playing this game, and it was done by the Nox crew. Basically, this game was made, which was awesome. And yeah, it's basically you are chucking TNT and cannons basically at each other, explosives at each other, and trying to make the other person fall off.
And you know, as we mentioned, we saw this back in Game On. Fun fact: one of the viewers, maybe not a viewer of the podcast, but someone who replied to the tweet, actually predicted this yesterday.
Yes.
So this is something we'll mention a bit later on in the podcast because we still have a bit to talk about before we get to that section. However, I put out a tweet yesterday on the podcast account asking if you could add one update to MCC Island, what would it be? And again, like I said, we'll talk about that soon. However, someone called Exifia replied, and they sent a link, and they said, I want this from this, and they were referring to Dynaball from the YouTube Game On 2022, which is kind of crazy, a little bit scary actually. It feels like one of my predictions where I make a prediction and it comes true. It's like theirs was literally next day. I mean, you know what is Captain AJX? It's between us.
Yeah,
I reckon.
What?
MCC Island, or I'm not sure, saw my tweet, saw their reply, and thought, oh shit, that's a good idea. and then next day, they haven't even coded it, just next day they decided to announce it. That's what I think it is.
That would be amazing. But I hope that's true.
With that then, are you excited for this? I mean, I didn't really watch it. I didn't really watch the video because it got announced like 2 hours ago and I was a bit busy, so I didn't have enough time to review what it was. But you know everything MCC, so is there all things MCC even. So what are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's a good update, a big update, or like just a normal update?
I think any new game is obviously going to be cool. I think the fact it's a game that isn't on MCC is huge, right? We haven't had one of those before where it's been a game just made for Island. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the fact we get to play a game. Maybe they'll put it in MCC at some point, but for now, an Island exclusive is definitely exciting.
I will say, and I've been really looking forward to this podcast just for this, by the way, because I didn't know the new game was going to be announced, but even more so now I can say it. I reckon, I've been saying this for ages, it's so nice to finally put it in a YouTube video where I can come back and reference it, just like the MCC predictions. I reckon this is being added to MCC Island so they can tweak it, change it perfectly for the community, how the community likes it. This is bad, okay, update this. This is bad, update it. This is good, keep this. Perfectly change it and optimize it for the main MCC, to add it to the main MCC. Because they have Dodgeball, which is of course great, alright? And this is a take that I just thought of. What if they added this to MCC and then changed the final game? Or they added this to MCC and then like mainly for the people who don't always get to make Dodgeball, because I feel like there's a lot of people who haven't made Dodgeball. And they add this to main MCC as a brand new game once they tweak it perfectly. Because I mean, look at the Sky Battle. This MCC had a brand new Sky Battle. Where was that Sky Battle from? MCC Island. Why? Because a lot of the participants, and once again I have proof of this, I just can't say the names, were advocates for adding it to the main MCC. So
okay.
MCC Island's the perfect test. Yeah, you can use your testers of course, and they're going to obviously once they add it to MCC like practice. But like it's the perfect MCC Island's the perfect beta test for games. The community either don't like it and it's like they don't like it, MCC isn't gonna be good. MCC participants are gonna play this and then they're gonna be like, oh shit, this isn't too good, don't add it to main MCC. Oh, this is so cool, we need this on the main MCC. Oh bang, yeah. It's been a very long time since we've had a new game. Yeah, it's simply like that's probably the route that they can go down. If people aren't vibing with it, then they don't have to put it in, and otherwise it's just a cool like add-on for actual MCC Island, and that's perfect. I do think Dodgeball is perfect as a final game. You sort of got the movement in there, you got the PvP skill, you got the teamwork. So I somewhat am like, are they going to get rid of that? But this is like their own design as well. So it could be I tell you what, I can definitely see it in say a few non-canon events. For example, Pride, and then if they ever do a what was the crazy event? Scuffed, cool again. So that would be cool. But it just depends how it's sort of taken on by the public, how it's taken on by some of the participants, and whether or not they actually want to put it in the event or not, which would be crazy. It'd be a crazy add-on. I want to hear your thoughts actually, a little bit off topic from this, on the new Sky Battle on MCC. I liked it. I thought it was alright. I just didn't like the levies or the orbs. On the new Sky Battle.
I sort of get it. I get why they've done it. It's something new, and I think also it's very on brand for them. It's forming part of their brand, right? These items are their brand. They're not just Minecraft items anymore. If you want to play with these items, you have to go on MCC Island. So I think that's a big thing for me. I think overall they've definitely gone. Originally, when MCC Island came out, they were like, "Oh, we don't want it as a testing ground for a bunch of the players because they can like play on it way more and like get way better." So I think the fact they've decided they're fine with having it on MCC, and with Plobbies now you can get rid of a bunch of the modifiers, so you can basically just practice hole in the wall infinitely, is just a showcase that they're all right with it. All the players doing what they want now.
I will say, and I know we weren't going to talk about MCC much, but now that we're talking about the new game, it has kind of brought the topic to my mind. And once again, Midweek MC doesn't really follow a format where kind of waffling. And now that we've moved away from the MCC update, I actually have a lot more to talk about and say for some reason. So maybe this was part of the podcast where I felt like I was going to waffle. I don't like the fact that players can play the MCC parkour courses on MCC Island and on MCC. And yes, I understand that the players, if they wanted to, could test it. Or like every single player has access to MCC Island to play the parkour games before they play MCC. However, I don't like it.
That's fair enough.
I don't like the fact that people, because I mean, I already don't like the fact that we see the exact same parkour courses over and over again. They mentioned how they have over 100 different courses, yet we sort of see the exact same ones. I think some of the parkour warrior courses, like I've seen it so many times where 3 and 4 have the exact same ending. Nothing changed, or 3 and 5 have the exact same ending. Nothing has changed other than it being flipped. And it's like, I just don't like the fact, I understand, like, you know, it makes their life a bit easier. I just don't like how I can go onto MCC Island, practice all the parkour courses, and then do the exact same thing in the main MCC. Because once again, not every creator has time to play MCC Island and then MCC. Some people are so lucky to just play MCC, you know, lucky that they have the time to do MCC. And once again, spicy take, a good few people agreed with me on that one. Obviously, it's not an all bad thing. At the end of the day, if the players really didn't like it, they'd complain about it. You know, I'm not the one playing, so my opinions don't really matter too much. It's that kind of thing is very much based on like the player's opinion. However, if I was a player, I just wouldn't be a big fan of it.
I can actually add on to this because it's a good point. So I'll do this quickly because, you know, time. But like the pack, saying about the fact that they basically went into this MCC completely unknowing, they didn't think they'd be as not bad, but as underprepared as they were going into this event, because MCC is huge now, right? There's so much different things to actual Minecraft that a group of players that are very used to old style Minecraft, you know, they went into bingo and they crafted they crafted wood tools. You know, I thought they'd never ever complete grid runners. I was like, that's such a weird concept. Sands of Time even, and a bunch of the games, right, are way more difficult than just basic knowledge. Like if they played Ace Race, they'd all come last because the players study the maps, a bunch of the players. So I think now MCC has become sort of competitive is the thing. You have to put in the hours, you have to, you know, VOD review. It's the reason Antfrost is so good. He VOD reviews, he puts in the hours on MCC Island, getting better and better and better. I think that's just where we're at with MCC now. It's, you know, it's an unfortunate thing, it's a good thing, it's kind of a bit of both, but that's just sort of how it is now.
I get that. Yeah, that's fair. I was just leaving my 2 cents in the situation.
Yeah, definitely. I respect it.
It's just like, you know, I guess like MCC, I guess like my take on it as well. Also, Manchester United losing 2-0 Bayern.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's currently I'll tell you now how many minutes we are into the game. This is in the podcast, by the way. We are 37 minutes in, and Leroy Sané scored in the 28th with a Harry Kane assist, and Serge Gnabry scored in the 32nd with a Musalia assist.
He went to the right
club. But yeah, sorry, as I was saying, you know, I feel like it's very much a case of I agree MCC is becoming very sweaty, but then, you know, and once again, I don't know what happens behind the scene. I'm just going from what I publicly like. Feinberg, Corryway, all those kind of people should be in the main MCC. If it's becoming so sweaty, why are they not being invited? You know?
Do not have an answer for you there.
I guess to add to this, since we're talking about MCC and we're probably not going to do this on a podcast, I want to leave my 2 cents. I have a suggestion for MCC. So if you're listening to this Knots crew, I have an amazing suggestion which you're probably not going to like. It's nothing bad, by the way, AJX. I'm not trying to stitch you up here.
Yeah.
But it's just a simple idea. There are a lot of S tiers in the event. I feel like MCC should start rotating out S tier players for other S tier players. For instance, in the nicest way possible, you know, there's a lot of content creators, I won't say names for this one, who have played nearly every single season. They've had their time in the spotlight. They've had their time to play MCC. I feel like they should start rotating out these people and putting in new S tiers, like Coryway, like Feinberg. In the last 5 MCCs, there has only been, out of the 200 possible players, a rotation of about 67 players or something along those lines. 67, 72, I can't remember what the updated stat is. Out of possible 200 players in five months. I feel like they should start rotating, because like the reason they don't want to add these good players is because they're S tier and they don't want the event to be full of S tiers. But then why not rotate out the players who have been playing for 3 years on the trot and give like other content creators who should be in MCC a chance? I'm not saying these people shouldn't be in MCC, but simply rotate of like, okay, you've played this season, take a 2-season break, or take a 1-season break. You know, like rotate it out a little bit. You know, and I guess it makes it harder, but it's just, that's my opinion. You know, it's not a bad opinion, and I think it's just a suggestion. You know, once again, I don't know what happens behind the scenes. I don't know what their thought process is into making teams and all that kind of stuff. Would absolutely love to have Smajor on the podcast one day to ask them about this all, and maybe even suggest the idea and ask like why they don't do that. But simply, it's just at the end of the day, it's just simply a request or just a fault. You know.
Yeah.
Which you don't have to leave your thoughts on. That's just my honest opinion.
I quite like the group of people in, but that's because I watch MCC and I would love other people to be added, and whoever your favorite, I want them to be added. There you go. That's
I think everybody deserves to be in. I absolutely love the group of people who are in. I just feel like there's a lot of people who are missing out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is the final take. But anyways, what the main topic was, the new game. At the end of the day, what are your thoughts on the new game? Are you looking forward to it? Are you excited? Is it going to be good? Do you think it's going to be a bit bad? Is it going to be laggy on release? Most likely. I reckon it's a pretty solid game. I think it can go quite well.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Definitely big excitements for the new game and how it's gonna play out.
Right, so we have 2 more topics to cover, but before we get into the final one, which is the big one, talking about updates to MCC Island, future updates, I do want to talk about the brand new release of MCC plushies. This has, been a bit of a talking point. Of course, it's brand new. It's a brand new, announcement for MCC and from Noxcrew. So a lot of people are excited for it. However, essentially, what MCC plushies are is Noxcrew made an announcement the other day that they are partnered with U2s to release plushies for every single team. You can either buy one of the plushies for $30, give or take, or you can buy all 10 of the plushies for $200. The only issue being is, if you buy the $30 plushie, you're not guaranteed the plushie want. You have a 1 in 10. So if you want 2 plushies specifically and you buy 2 boxes, you only have a 2 in 20 chance of actually getting the plushie you want. There's even a chance you could get just 2 of the same plushie, which has obviously stirred up a little bit of unhappiness or unease in the community. Something I also aren't too fond of, if I'm honest. However, I don't think this is a Noxcrew problem. And, I guess you can turn around and be like, oh, well, if it's not a Noxcrew problem, why did they not partner with makeshifts and all that kind of jazz? Once again, we don't know what happens behind the scenes. We're probably never going to know what happens behind the scenes. There's a reason they partnered with U2s, and I feel like it was U2's decision to make it random boxes. You're probably wondering why. I feel like, why the whole, what's it called, like random boxes is a thing in the first place, and I'll give my opinion on that as well. It's because essentially U2s have probably pre-made about, obviously a lot more than this, but for the basics of it, 100 of each, right? So they're only going to make 100 sales of each. They're only going to make 1,000 sales. You get, assuming it's only the random boxes, once again, just, other bases. U2s have probably already started pre-making the plushies. The reason they haven't done the plushies you want is because that means they'd have to, say 50 people ordered red, 2 people ordered orange, none blue, 30 purple. They'd have to make that, but with the random boxes, they make a set amount of each. That's probably what the contract is. Once again, no inside information, just speaking from what I feel. But what are your thoughts, if you have any, on the situation, AJX?
Yeah, I think it's a YouTube's decision. I don't think MCC Island would do this. In terms of pre-made, if it is pre-made, then I'm more questioning why they're like, this is a pre-order and it doesn't actually release until January, which you think is 5 months away, which is the case for all was the case for all of these. I think it's a shame that you either have to buy all 10 or you have to buy a single one. I don't think it's anything on the Noxcrew. I think it is just a decision by the people at U2s. So it's sort of brands.
I'm probably gonna buy, being very bad with my money here, I might buy all 10. I'm not sure yet if I'm even gonna buy any. However, they made an announcement earlier that they're giving away 3, which I think is really, really nice. But once again, it's just, I feel kind of bad for the people who want red rabbits or want orange ocelots, and then they can only really buy 1 box, and then the box they buy, they get pink, which is their most hated color.
Yeah. And also, you all have a feeling towards some sort of team, and you can buy 10, but there's no guarantee guarantee that you're not going to get like 6 pinks and 4 reds.
That's why you just buy the 10 set though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's true. That's, you know what? Great point there.
Just assuming that wasn't a thing. Just assuming that wasn't a thing then, and you bought it.
But yeah, I think honestly the set's just too much. So I'd love all 10, but also
you don't want all 10.
it's too much. Well, it's just too much money is the thing. And you know, I would buy other MCC merch before that, basically.
Well, I actually predicted the plushies, by the way.
Did you? Oh wow!
I did it in NPCs. Yeah, I sent a message like 7 a.m. on the day that plushies got announced, and I was like, "Oh, watch them be like $30 for one and $250 for the entire set." I was so close. I was so close. Had they have said 250 instead of 200, which obviously 200 is better, I would have been I would have been 100% correct again. I read Not True like a book. I just somehow know everything they're gonna do. Watch this brand new MCC Island game mode. Constantly get updates. Constantly be perfected. And at some point in season 4 or at the end of season 3, we're gonna see it in the main MCC. I'm calling it right now because I can just tell. You know, I can just tell. Maybe it's because it's obvious, but I can still tell. You know.
You got that sight. You got that so Raven sight.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, but I just feel because obviously MCC is a lot more of a young audience. I just feel a bit bad for those who have an attachment to a certain color, maybe because one of their creators have won their only season with that color and kind of stuff, and it's like now you only have a 1 in 10 chance of actually getting that plushie if you can convince your parents to give you the money for it.
Yeah, that's my feelings as well, if I'm honest.
But you know, maybe not in the 4 of the Not True, maybe in 4 of the Not True, who knows? But I doubt it. It's just an unlucky circumstance. Yeah. But they gotta make money. They've been losing money for so long with MCC. MCC Island always different kind of merch is how they made their money back.
Yeah. I think based on I think it's quite clear because based on what they do with every other piece of merch, none of them are random loot crate chances. So for me, it's like it's definitely not their decision.
Yeah, exactly. Which is where I agree. I guess if that's your take on the MCC plushies, then if you don't have anything else to say in general about anything regarding what we've talked about today, we will move on to the final topic.
No, that's pretty much my opinion on the plushies.
And then everything in general, have you not got anything else to mention?
No, nothing.
I guess then, for the final topic of the podcast, we're going to talk about what we'd like to, and what you'd, the viewer, like to add to MCC Island.
Oh yeah, which is exciting because there's so much stuff that you could add to MCC Island. There's so much you could do with the server. So obviously there's the mini games is going to be the big one. I think we've got a good list of things that we could add.
But before we get into talking about the viewers' ones, have you got any ideas of what you'd like to see on MCC Island?
So, okay, look, I wasn't going to mention it because, everyone wants new games. I do want Ace Race. I want Ace Race so badly, and it is apparently the most difficult game to make and so on. But in terms of games, I think it is just like nowhere else you could play Ace Race. I have not seen anything that's that good of that detailed as Ace Race. So I would love that dearly. I don't think we'll get it until very late on. But when we do get it, that's the dream. That's the dream. In terms of other stuff, I think this we'll get onto later. But just MCC Island as a whole right now is very difficult to understand in terms of all the systems and how you get different things, how you get points for Battle Pass, how you get points for the different Battle Passes, because obviously you have a Battle Pass to get to the other side. You have a Battle Pass for Battle Box and so on. That's really difficult to understand. So I basically want a more simplified version of how everything works, basically, would be amazing for me. And then it's just in terms of different, adding different stuff to different games, adding different game modes, basically. I think with what they did with the Sky Battle Summer was really cool. But when I think about it, when I think about the whole, you've got Parkour Warrior, you have the time trial version, and then you obviously have the tag version. I want sort of stuff like that. I want a Battle Box game mode that's just not OP items, but just a bit more crazy items, and you can do different stuff with it. Basically, I want variations. They should definitely add the Sky Battle. I guess that would be difficult. I was going to say they should add into rotation the different Sky Battle, but the issue is a lot of people didn't play it at the end of its life, so I don't think people will be clicking on it all the time. But I still think it's it's interesting. At least it's different like different stuff each, not month, but maybe season. An added thing to the game modes would be cool. Would be really cool for me.
I agree with the ace race, of course. Like, you know, it's very basic, but I want ace race so badly. There's obviously a swim, run, fly on Bedrock Edition, but you know, it's not really. No, a run, yeah, something like that on Bedrock Edition, but isn't that amazing? I hope when they add ace race, or if they ever do add ace race, it's not like Parkour Warriors. Maybe like make it like Parkour Warrior and Parkour Warrior Survivor, but I would like it to mainly just be like, you know, 1v1ing, or like not 1v1ing, sorry, but like a full-on actual ace race kind of thing. Because I like getting fast times, but trying to PB against the people who are definitely better at movement than me, trying to get a world record is so hard. I've also been playing a lot of like grid runners on Bedrock Edition. I don't want to see that on MCC Island. I'm just saying, like, right now I've just been playing a lot of movement games on Bedrock Edition because all the not screwed movement games are on bloody Bedrock. And I know parkour's movement, but I don't mean that kind of movement. And I'd also like to see Meltdown. I think Meltdown would be a really fun game if they made it solos. I reckon if they made Meltdown like solo game mode, that could be quite fun. And like, I don't know, maybe even just adding like Meltdown but like one in the chamber kind of style, or Meltdown but one in the chamber. I don't know. I don't know how well that'd do, but I think it could be pretty fun. Then there's also like lots of other ideas. I have so many ideas for like things. So for instance, one of them being team griefing. Right now, if somebody's building on Sky Battle, you can mine the block below them. On CubeCraft Java Edition, you can't do that. You get a notification saying you can't mine this block or whatever. So it'd be nice if they got rid of team griefing. You know, obviously just update Plobbies to just add a lot more settings, which I'll get into a little bit more later. It's one of the viewer suggestions. And then like just there's like I have so many. I won't get into too much of it, but just so many different things. You know, like maybe like a fun little games in the lobby, like fishing or whatever. You know, more like I like regions. You know, like it'd be so nice. Once again, that's also another few things I won't get into too much right now. But just adding something like that. But then it links to what I said earlier. Like the player count can't really warrant that. Is the issue. It's like, you know, I want so many updates MCC Island, but I'm gonna have to wait for them all. However, unless you go on.
I was gonna add, I'm interested to see what they do with the the faction huts and that, because I think that's a cool thing that's sort of there in the lobby that they haven't done anything with yet.
Yeah, and then there's also like this master key, which I mean,
I haven't seen the master key, but that's gonna cool.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it is that, and there's like a lot of stuff that they kind of like leaking towards, but haven't really like added yet. So it'll be interesting to see once all of that's been added.
Yeah, definitely.
Something else to look forward to. Just the updates that they're kind of hinting at but not adding.
Yeah.
And also, they kind of partially did this, so I left a suggestion on the forums, which got like, they probably did end up seeing it, but didn't get any like public views. Was like, so my idea essentially was every single like MCC, add something on MCC Island where you can like choose like the faction that you think is going to win, or like change your faction to the faction that you think is going to win, and if you predict it right, you get like a cool little reward, like MCC 35 like predictor or like whatever.
Yeah.
However, after my suggestion, they ended up adding where you can choose the head to support your team.
Yes.
Which I believe that season CPK was on Orange Ocelots, so I was Orange Ocelots for the entire time. Or Purple Pandas. I think it might have been Purple Pandas actually, because it links with my MCC Rising team. However, you know, they only added that, but I think it would be cool if they added a way that you could choose the team that you think is going to win, and just get a cool little badge for it, you know? A cool little badge saying, oh yeah, I predicted the winners of this, I predicted winners of this kind of thing. So
yeah, Splatoon-esque.
What does that mean?
In Splatoon, you have that basically.
Oh, cool. Yeah, see, I think it'd just be a cool little update.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But alongside our things that we want to add to MCC Island, yesterday on Twitter, I made a tweet asking you, the viewer, if you could add one game to MCC Island, what would it be? If you haven't already, go follow the Twitter at InsideMC Podcast to never miss the guest announcement, all those kind of podcast topic ideas. But yeah, myself and AJX have picked 2 each of our favorite suggestion ideas. There was obviously a lot of suggestion ace race and a lot of different games, which we were going to pick, but they're kind of just the basics where everyone wants. So we kind of thought we'd choose the ones that are outside the box. So we're going to do one each. We're going to go AJX, myself, and we're going to talk about each topic a little bit. So please, AJX, go first with your one.
So mine's from the one and only Jacana, who has put a clearer system to find how to get certain cosmetics, which I sort of looked at before with just the whole system being easier. But this is sort of a search and master master list of how you like create the cosmetics, how you do everything, because you can create them. Just a clearer system overall, I think, for the whole of MCC Island would be a lot better and a lot more easier for casuals like arguably myself. I'm basically a casual of MCC Island and like the whole cosmetic system and so on to understand. It would be a lot easier.
I mean, like even me, like I know I keep referring to a lot of people but not saying names because I don't really want to out people without their permission. Like a good online friend of mine has ADHD. They're not a content creator, they're just a friend of mine, and like they can sometimes find the lobby and stuff really confusing. And even me, without like, as far as I'm aware, like I don't have ADHD or whatever, like I can find the lobby to be really confusing sometimes, like all the cosmetics and stuff. Like, oh, I have this cosmetic but I can upgrade it like 5 times, but then I need these materials, but I don't know how to get these materials, and these materials are where, oh, I want to queue a game but then I have to go through this and that. It's like, you know, unless I like buying a rank makes it slightly easier. Like one of the rank benefits is like you can access like the barbers remotely or something. Which is an interesting rank perk. But like it just makes it confusing. Like I want to get all these cosmetics, but I don't know where to find them. I don't know how to get them. Like, you know, you have to travel all over the hub and then you have to get coins and then you might know where something is and then lose it. It's like, it's very confusing. It's all very confusing. I guess like, do you have an idea, AJX, of how they could improve it? I mean, I think I have one, but do you?
I think you have to simplify a lot of the stuff, basically. I just think you need to, you know, you've got the simplification of logos nowadays. You know, you just need to do that with the systems.
Yeah, because I get adding loads and I get wanting to add loads, which is completely fine and completely respectable. But like, when is too much? You know, especially with like new seasons every 3 months, which have loads more cosmetics. It's like I can't keep up with it. I don't have the time to keep up with it. You know, I have all these quest scrolls that I need to complete, and I tried doing it, but they just take so long. I can't keep up with it all. You know, I have the podcast, I have work, I have a girlfriend who I have to spend time. I want to spend time with. You know, so yeah, so it's all that kind of jazz. But
definitely.
I think my suggestion is just like maybe bundle things up. Maybe make it so like if you click on a certain cosmetic, and it'd be a lot more coding, and I don't know how much stress it'd put on the server. But if you like click on a cosmetic, you'll TP you to it, or it'll give you like a little pop up of how you can get this when you need to go for it, kind of stuff. You know, I just think all little things like that. And then like the materials, they're quite hard to get or quite confusing to get. Like I don't know how to get certain materials. I haven't really learned how, and I don't think anyone knows. You kind of just get the materials, you know.
Yeah. It's stuff like that.
So my one comes from Mr. Kuberman, Merc the Man, even. Anyway,
yes.
However you call them. And it's a proxy for the fellow Aussies so they can have decent ping. And I don't even think that just applies to the Aussies, because it applies to me as well. Like I'm lagging all the bloody time, you know. Like I'd very much like if they added regions for myself. But obviously, I mean, I guess you as well being British. But it comes to the idea that I mentioned earlier, and I touched on this a little bit when I was talking about things I want to add. Can the player count warrant it? It can't. There's not enough players to add regions. It's as simple as that, you know.
Yeah, currently, I definitely think there's an aspect of that being possible in the future, and I hope it is. But yeah, it sucks. Maybe there's a way to. Again, neither of us are well knowledged on coding, I would say, and such for such a massive server. Maybe there's a way to make it so it's regions, so it's just like better connection for you, but it's probably still going to be the same. You know what? Scrap that. It's probably still going to have the same issues. So it's a huge issue, unfortunately, but I can't see a possible fix at this moment. Hopefully, maybe one day there is.
Exactly. Once they start getting more players, hopefully. But like, I mean, and there's probably a reason for it. But Nox Crew is a British, European-based company. As far as I'm aware, it's a European-based company. So like, why is MCC Island NA or American? Why is it hosted on in America? I guess it's probably cheaper, or it's the same as I know the MCC practice server is hosted in America. MCC itself is hosted in America.
I would say the majority of the people playing are American.
Really? I thought it'd be more British.
Yeah. No.
On European, sorry, not British. European.
No, I think it's majority America.
That's probably right. I don't know. Well, what about your next one then, Ajax?
So my next one is from Burger in a Tux, and it's about matchmaking. Add a matchmaking system and a leveling system so casual players aren't forced to play games against very competitive people, aka sweats.
What's your take on that then?
Well, I think it would be really cool, basically, to have a matchmaking system and a leveling system. It would make it way more competitive as a whole MCC. You can get into like an S tier rank, which everyone goes on about anyway. You will want to be S tiers, and playing against other people that are S tiers would be sick. I really think this is a great idea, and I hope that they add it in the future, basically.
Once again, no, as the regions, does the player count warrant it? I know, like on the Hive Bedrock Edition, for example, they have a matchmaking system for the bridge, right? So the more wins you get, the more harder it is to queue. To a point where like someone has so many wins that they just keep queuing up against the same player, and once that player logs off, they can't queue a game. And that's with a lot of players. I just don't. I as much as I'd love to see it added, it's like the regions. Does the player count warrant it? Plus, is it going to be an easy thing to add? You know, like, because what I like about MCC Island, and more so now that it's come out of beta, is I keep facing different players. A matchmaking system, if I was ever getting good at the game, and I wouldn't be able to face lower tier players, and as a lower tier player, I don't really get the practice of facing higher tier players. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
What anything else to add to that though? Like on your views?
Well,
I said.
I think even if you got like you can say. It's difficult. You can still like face A tiers against S tiers and so on. I'm saying tier systems because that's what everyone does for
that
MCC.
Makes sense, yeah.
But say like you have 50 S tiers and then 100 A tiers. I think it's got enough of a user base for that to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then you can go up and down ranks, so that would be cool. So that's.
There you go. Sorry.
You could. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
I also want to add. I forgot until just now, and I know you've said that. Is what's called one of my other suggestions for what they should add to MCC, which should have come in the previous section, was MCC Island. Sorry, was that when they release new maps, there should be a setting where you can either turn on that you don't care and you just you're happy to play any maps, or a preference that you queue into the newer maps. Because I don't think they should add map voting. Otherwise, we just get the exact same maps over and over again. So I'm glad they don't have that. But I wish with new updates and new maps, there was a setting you could turn on your preference for like the first like month or so of new maps. You'd rather queue into the newer maps priority over the old maps. That could be a really cool thing to add as well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But with that kind of setting idea, it leads into my final one, which is from Alex. And it's adding more settings Plobbies, which I think we both strongly agree on. Yeah.
Yes, that'd be cool. Definitely. I think just adding a bunch of extra stuff would be awesome.
And a suggestion they had was like a Sky Battle hide and seek, which I think would be quite cool. For instance, on a Bedrock Edition, they have a game called Treasure Wars, which is actually turned into Bed Wars. And on it, you can have like free shops, so everything is completely free. So you can just like pay basically unlimited snowballs, unlimited like armor, weapons, all that kind of just like a free shop kind of setting. With Sky Wars, there's like an ore system on the Hive, and with it you can change like the settings of ores. You can change what ores spawn. Like I wish like Sky Battle had like a chest system, so you can make it OP items, normal items, like basic items. You know, just for private games. For Plobbies, sorry. You know, to get to the other side, but there's no hitting. Like turn off hitting would be so fun. Hole in the wall without modifiers could be really, really cool. Battle box, but everybody has the same kit. I don't know, just stuff like that could be like just little ideas like that could be such cool for settings, in my opinion. And I feel like they're really missing the mark by not adding settings, because eventually people are not getting bored of it per se, but people aren't going to want to do private games so much because like just playing a normal game but with viewers. So it'd be cool to add like little variety kind of things, you know.
I think that goes on to what I said earlier about adding like different types of games, little game modes basically onto the current games. I think that'd be sick.
But yeah, that's basically the rundown of this. That's basically the rundown of the MCC Update. Sorry if like we didn't seem so zoned in today, chat. I can't speak for AJX, but for some reason I'm just zoned out today. I think I'm just a bit tired with everything. I'm just having one of those days, and of all bloody days to have it, it's on a bloody podcast day.
It's a chiller podcast. That's what I think you got to take from it.
And I mean, it's always been a case of like with my main channel, every single time I'm like, I don't really feel 100% about this video. I'm not really a big fan of it, but it's like a good video to upload. It always does well. So watch this podcast get like 1,000+ views on Spotify and YouTube. Watch it happen, because this is the podcast that I'm not 100% on, you know. So, but yeah, anything else to mention in anything, AJX, or do you think it's time to wrap up the podcast?
I think it's time to wrap up.
with that being said then, if you'd like to find any of our personal socials, you can find them both below. AJX's YouTube and Twitch is linked below. My YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, that kind of stuff is linked below. As well as the podcast Discord and any of the podcast socials if you'd like to find that. Sadly, I guess we could say this actually because I'm recording the podcast in like 7 hours from when this is coming out. Sadly, you won't be on next week's podcast, AJX, will you?
No, I will not. You have quite a big midweek MC next week, a special edition, I'd say.
Yeah, well, I mean, if that doesn't happen, which will be announced, we would have been announced by now. We won't talk about it just in case it doesn't end up going through. But either way, there will be a midweek MC next week. But because of what's planned to happen, even if it doesn't happen, AJX is going on holiday and leaving me.
Yeah, It's gonna be a nice little holiday.
Nice little getaway. So, but yeah, no AJX next week, sadly. However, this has been the midweek MC. Actually, no, you did the intro. You do the outro as well, AJX, please.
Oh, okay. This has been midweek MC. Thank you so much for watching / listening, and as always, peace.